I was kind of a bit of a human jukebox. People would come up to me and say, "Oh, Bev, have you heard that song? Oh, sing it. Go on, sing it, sing it." That was kind of my job.
We had the England cricketers in last week. We had Ollie Pope in and we had Zach Crawley in.
Yeah.
And they are clearly, obviously, very good at what they do. They're in the England team. They're playing against Australia. The second test starts tomorrow, and it's all very exciting. And I wanted to ask them, but we ran out of time. So, when you're as good as that at cricket, at school, for example, when you're a future England player, but nobody knows it, not even you. Well, the universe might, but no human being knows it. Some people may have an inkling, but nobody knows it for sure. When you're 12 and you're going to be an England international, are you so much better than everybody else in your class or school? Are you like ridiculously better? What was it like for you in singing?
About that age, I was kind of a bit of a human jukebox. People would come up to me, pre-Spotify, people would come up to me and say, "Oh, Bev, have you heard that whatever song in the chart? Annie Lennox, the Eurythmics. Have you heard that song? Oh, sing it. Go on, sing it, sing it." That was kind of my job.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
But was that because you knew all the lyrics, or were you outstandingly good? It's difficult for you to talk about yourself, but you were there, so you know.
I could hit the notes, put it that way. I could hit the notes, and so people.
But in your school,
me,
right?
Yeah.
Were you must have been. When was your voice exemplary? When did it become another level?
Well, when it was the point when people were like, "Oh, okay, then." I must have been around 8 or 9 or something. I was young.
And did you sense it yourself within yourself?
I come from a family of people who sing.
We've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah, and not just my immediate family, but my extended family. So I didn't think about it so much. I just thought, well, I sing, that's what I do.
Yeah.
It's only when I kind of surrounded myself with more people who just kind of can hold a tune that I thought, oh, okay, there's something in this.
Yeah.
And that must have been around 8 or 9.
And then tell us about other tipping points on from that. So that was 8 or 9. When was the next sort of moment?
When I was around 13, 14, I guess that was when the vocal really took off, because that was when the range really kicked in.
Do you know how that works from a sort of development point of view?
I don't, other than just adolescence kind of gets into 5th gear and all the things come out,
Right.
All
so you go to the beginning of the next level.
Yeah.
As it were.
Yeah.
And what was your first biggest job then?
Outside of singing Whitney, God, which because you've asked me to sing Whitney so many times.
Because you do it so well.
I was asked at school to sing The Greatest Love of All, school assembly. I must have been about 14, 15, which I did. And then the teachers were crying, bless them.
Because they were going to lose you. This is the last we're going to see of her in the school choir.
But it was, I think it was around that time that I used to come down to London, visit my cousins, and my one cousin, Donny, multi-instrumentalist, just amazing, all-round musician and vocalist. And he had a friend who was in the music industry kind of looking at me like, be interested to manage you one day, and would you be up for it? And I was like, no, because I've got to go back to Wolverhampton and I've got to get to school. I've got to study.
Got to support Wolves FC.
Exactly.
Who you love.
Absolutely right. So, that was a big moment when I thought, oh, I'm good enough for people who I don't know from a tree to notice my vocal. So that was good. It wasn't just people being nice.
Right, let's have a bit of a Whitney conversation, because we always do, don't we? So when I beg you to sing Whitney whenever you're doing anything for us, and you sometimes do and sometimes don't, and I don't blame you for never doing it again if you don't want to, but it's so good when you do.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm like, what do I know? I have ears. They look like everybody else's. They work a bit. I'm thinking, well, I've heard Whitney do that, and I see Beverley do that. I can't spot the join. It's very difficult, I would think, for my ears to hear anybody that's got a better voice than you that I've ever heard. And I've been very lucky to witness loads of people singing on the same stage as me, on the radio, in front of me, live. I've seen thousands of people perform live,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never heard a better voice than yours. I may have heard one as good, can't remember, but I've never heard a better one. So when you hear Whitney, do you hear her doing things you can't, or do you meet her in the middle like a sister, or do you not think about that? Is it just idiots like me that think about that stuff?
I just sit in adoration, to be honest.
Right.
The voice, the chest voice, not the falsetto singing way up there, but her actual, just her
The depth.
the depth and the power behind
Right,
it.
got it.
And the control of it was just otherworldly.
Yeah.
So as a kid, I'd sit there going, how is she doing this? How is she doing this? I have to learn how she's doing this. And I would work hard to get just a bit of that. And then there's the fairy dust, which no one can attain to. You just either have the fairy dust or you don't.
Which is so true, isn't it? It's stardust. Because
really
it comes
is.
from the stars, doesn't it?
It really does. And that's just bestowed on people.
You're blessed with that. You're touched.
It's a gift
touched?
thing. I feel as though I was given this gift.
Yeah.
And I've got a responsibility to use it, to share it, to hopefully make people's day a bit brighter.